The morning sun cast long shadows across Pine Grove Elementary's playground as children's laughter filled the air. It was just another Tuesday in October, or at least it seemed that way. The fallen leaves danced across the playground as kids chased each other during recess, their teachers watching from the sidelines while sipping their coffee. Commander Jack Stone sat in his office at the nearby military base, staring at the photo of his son Billy on his desk. The boy's bright smile and missing front tooth always made Jack grin. He picked up his phone to check the time. 10:30 a.m. Billy would be at recess now, probably playing Space Explorers with his friends like he always did. The first sign that something was wrong came when the lights flickered, not just at the base, but across the whole town. Radio operators reported strange interference, and the radar systems showed unusual patterns that none of the technicians could explain. "Commander," a young officer burst into Jack's office without knocking. "Sir, you need to see this." The urgency in the officer's voice made Jack jump to his feet. He followed the man to the control room, where dozens of screens showed different readings. But one screen caught his attention immediately. It showed an energy signature unlike anything he'd seen before. Almost anything. "This can't be," Jack whispered, his face going pale. 5 years ago, he'd worked on a classified project studying similar energy patterns. They'd concluded they were signs of advanced cloaking technology, far beyond Earth's capabilities. His phone rang. The school's number flashed on the screen. "Commander Stone," he answered, his throat tight. "Commander, this is Principal Wells." The woman's voice shook. "There's been an incident. You need to come to the school immediately." Jack was already moving before she finished speaking. He grabbed his jacket and ran to his car, breaking several speed limits on the way to Pine Grove Elementary. As he pulled into the parking lot, he saw panic. Parents were rushing in. Police cars surrounded the building, and teachers were trying to calm hysterical children. Principal Wells met him at the entrance, her face streaked with tears. "It happened during recess," she said. "One minute they were there, the next. Commander, 12 children just vanished. Billy was among them." Security footage told the impossible story. The cameras had captured the moment. A shimmer in the air, like heat waves rising from hot pavement, and then the children simply disappeared. All 12 of them, gone in an instant. But Jack saw what others missed. His trained eye caught the slight distortion in the sky, the almost invisible outline of something massive hovering above the playground. He'd seen similar distortions in classified photos, studied them for years. Back at the base, chaos erupted. The radar station reported an unidentified object breaking through the atmosphere at impossible speeds. Amateur astronomers would later post videos of a strange light leaving Earth's orbit, but by then, Jack was already in action. He stood in the base commander's office, his voice steady despite the storm raging inside him. "Sir, I know what took those children, and I know why our sensors picked up those energy signatures." He placed a classified file on the desk. 5 years ago, Project Stargazer detected similar patterns. We thought they were anomalies then, but now I understand. They were scouting us. The base commander opened the file, his eyes widening. "You're telling me?" "Aliens, sir. Advanced ones. They took our children." Jack's fists clenched at his sides. "And they have no idea what they've just done." As night fell over the grieving town, emergency meetings were being held in various world capitals. Satellites were repositioned, hidden protocols were activated, and classified projects were brought into the light. Humanity had kept secrets too. Secrets they'd been saving for a day they hoped would never come. The aliens who took those children thought they were dealing with a simple, primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were, because they hadn't just taken random children. They'd taken the children of a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for threats, real or imagined. And now, humanity would show the galaxy exactly what happened when you threaten their young. Within 24 hours of the children's disappearance, the world changed. Commander Jack Stone stood in a massive underground facility that few people knew existed, watching as lights flickered on to reveal something impossible. A fleet of spacecraft bearing Earth military markings. Beautiful, aren't they? Tom Reed walked up beside him, wiping grease from his hands with an old rag. The engineer's messy brown hair and oil-stained jacket made him look more like a car mechanic than the genius who had helped build humanity's secret defense fleet. We've kept them ready, just in case. Never thought we'd need them because of something like this. Above them, 3 sleek ships hung in the enormous cavern. They looked nothing like the clunky rockets the public knew about. These vessels were elegant, deadly, and built using technology that would shock most of the world's scientists. "How long have we had these?" Jack asked, still staring at the ships. "Remember that crash in the desert 15 years ago? The one the government said was a weather balloon." Tom grinned. "Let's just say those aliens really should have cleaned up after themselves better. We've been studying and copying their tech ever since." A group of people in military uniforms entered the facility, led by Dr. Ann Miller. Her white lab coat stood out among the dark uniforms. She carried a tablet that displayed complex star charts and energy readings. "Commander Stone," she called out, her voice echoing in the vast space. "We've tracked their energy signature. The ship that took the children left a trail we can follow. They're not as careful as they think they are." Jack turned to face the group. "What do we know about them?" Dr. Miller pulled up a holographic display. "They call themselves the Collectors. We've intercepted their communications for years. They see themselves as scientists, gathering specimens from various worlds for study. They've done this before, but never to a species that could fight back." The base's main screen lit up with incoming video calls from world leaders. What happened next amazed everyone present. Instead of arguing or competing, the world's nations united. Within hours, they agreed to reveal the truth about Earth's secret space program and launch a rescue mission. "We've been preparing for alien contact for decades," the U.S. president announced to the world. "Today, we face an enemy that thought we were helpless. They were wrong. Today, we show them that taking Earth's children was their last mistake." Commander Stone was chosen to lead the mission. His military experience, combined with his personal stake as a parent of one of the taken children, made him the perfect choice. Tom Reed would go as chief engineer, and Dr. Miller as the mission's xenobiologist and alien expert. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. Crews prepared the ships while Special Forces teams trained for space combat. They called the mission Operation Shepherd, after the old tales of shepherds protecting their flocks from wolves. Standing in the command center of the lead ship, renamed Earth's Fury, Jack looked at his crew. They were the best Earth had to offer. Pilots, soldiers, scientists, and specialists from every corner of the globe. "The Collectors think they're dealing with primitives," he addressed his crew. "They expect us to be helpless, crying over our lost children. Instead, we're going to show them humanity's other face. The face that turned this planet's deadliest predators into house pets. The face that survived ice ages and asteroids. The face that never, ever gives up." Dr. Miller approached with new data. "Commander, we've confirmed their course. They're heading toward the Orion arm of the galaxy." "How long to catch them?" "At our best speed, using the gravity sling around Jupiter that Tom calculated. 3 days." Jack nodded, his jaw set with determination. "Send word to the other ships. We launch in 1 hour." He looked at the photo of Billy he'd placed on his command console. "Hold on, son. We're coming." As the massive underground doors opened above them, revealing the night sky, humanity prepared to show the galaxy a truth as old as our species: never threaten a human child. The consequences would be beyond anything the Collectors could imagine. Energy signature detected, the ship's computer announced. Earth's Fury dropped out of faster-than-light travel, its hull gleaming under the light of an alien sun. 2 other Earth ships, Thunderchild and Artemis, appeared beside it moments later. Commander Jack Stone studied the holographic display showing a distant space station. It hung in orbit around a blue-green planet that looked surprisingly like Earth. "Dr. Miller, what are we looking at?" Dr. Miller adjusted her instruments. "It's a trading post, Commander. And according to these readings, a collector ship passed through here less than a week ago." The station looked like a giant metal snowflake, its 6 arms stretching out into space. Ships of various designs moved around it, none of them matching anything in Earth's database. "First contact," Tom Reed whispered from his engineering station. "Well, first official contact anyway." Jack straightened his uniform. "Open a channel to the station." After a moment's static, a screen lit up showing a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 eyes. The alien looked startled to see human faces. "This is Commander Stone of Earth," Jack said clearly. "We're tracking the ship that took our children. Have you seen it?" The station controller's translator took a moment to process this. Then all 4 eyes widened. "The collectors," it said. "They came here. They always come here after their harvests." The last word dripped with disgust. "You know them." Dr. Miller stepped forward. "All species in this sector know them," the controller replied. "They took younglings from my world 3 cycles ago. We could not follow. We could not fight. We could only weep." Jack's fists clenched. "Share what you know about them. We can fight. And we will." The next hour revealed a pattern of theft and helplessness across dozens of worlds. The collectors had been taking children from less advanced planets for centuries. They always followed the same route through this sector, using specific stations to resupply. But something changed that day. As the station controller shared the collector's likely course, Jack made an offer. "We can help you protect your people. We have the technology, and we're willing to share it." The controller's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "You would do this? Share your weapons with strangers?" "The collectors made us all enemies of the same evil," Jack replied. "On Earth, we have a saying, 'The enemy of my enemy is my friend.'" Word spread quickly through the sector. At each stop along the collector's trail, Earth's fleet found new allies. They shared defensive technology, communication systems, and most importantly, hope. Species that had been victims for generations suddenly saw a chance to fight back. Tom worked tirelessly, teaching alien engineers how to modify their shields against collector weapons. Dr. Miller collected data about each species' encounters, building a detailed picture of their enemies' tactics and weaknesses. "They're sloppy," she reported to Jack after their 4th stop. "They've never needed to be careful because nobody could follow them. Their technology is advanced, but they use it like bullies, not soldiers." The hunt led them through 3 star systems. Each stop made their fleet stronger as alien ships joined them. The collectors had created their own worst nightmare, a coalition of their victims, armed with human military technology and driven by shared pain. "Commander," a sensor operator called out. "New signal detected. It matches the ship that took the children." Jack looked at the tactical display. They were closing in. "How far ahead?" "Less than a day's travel, sir. They're heading toward a large facility in the next system." "Send word to our allies," Jack ordered. "Tell them to gather their forces here. The collectors think they're scientists collecting specimens. Time to show them what real science looks like when it's backed by determination." The fleet gathered, a mix of Earth ships and vessels from 6 different alien species. As they prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Jack touched the photo of Billy on his console. The collectors had spent centuries taking children from worlds they thought were helpless. They never imagined one of those worlds would unite the galaxy against them. "All ships, prepare for jump," Jack commanded. "Let's show them what happens when they mess with our kids." The collector outpost hung in space like a giant silver spider web, its metal strands gleaming under the light of 3 suns. Earth's fleet and their alien allies waited just outside the outpost's sensor range, hidden behind a field of asteroids. "Structural analysis complete," Tom reported from his engineering station aboard Earth's Fury. Their defensive systems are impressive, but they're predictable. They haven't updated them in centuries. Why would they? Nobody ever attacked them before. Commander Jack Stone studied the holographic display of the outpost. "Dr. Miller, what are we looking at?" "It's a research station," she replied, adjusting her scanners. "But I'm detecting only 30 life forms inside. For a station this size, that's barely a skeleton crew. They rely almost entirely on automated systems." Jack nodded, complacent, comfortable. His eyes hardened. Perfect. The plan was simple but clever, just like most of Tom's ideas. The engineer had discovered that the Collector's automated defense systems had one major weakness. They were designed to stop attacks, not accidents. 3 cargo ships from their alien allies approached the outpost, appearing to be damaged and requesting emergency docking. While the station's AI processed their request, Tom's specially designed program slipped through their communications channel, infecting their defense grid. "They're letting the cargo ships dock," the tactical officer announced. "Defense systems are starting to fluctuate." Jack keyed the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. Remember, we want prisoners who can talk. Time to show them what happens when you underestimate primitive species." The battle was brief but intense. The Collector's automated defenses fell quickly, confused by Tom's virus that made them see enemies as friends and friends as empty space. When the station's actual crew tried to take manual control, they found themselves facing something they'd never encountered: an angry, organized, and well-equipped fighting force. Earth's fury breached the station's main dock, and Jack led the boarding team himself. They moved through the silver corridors, their boots magnetic to counter the low gravity. The few Collectors they encountered surrendered quickly, shocked to see specimens wielding advanced weapons. They found the station's commander in the central control room. The alien was tall and thin, with gray skin and large eyes adapted to laboratory work rather than combat. It stared at the human boarders with a mixture of shock and scientific curiosity. "Fascinating," the Collector commander said through its translator. "You've developed far more quickly than our models predicted. We should study this advancement." Jack cut him off by slamming his armored fist on the control panel. "Where are the children?" The Collector blinked its large eyes. "The specimens. They're not here. This is merely a research outpost. We study the data collected from our gathering operations." Tom was already at a computer terminal, his fingers flying over the alien controls he'd learned to hack. "He's telling the truth, Commander. But I'm finding something better. Records, lists of every world they've taken children from, maps of their facilities, including," he paused, his eyes widening, "including where they take the specimens for long-term study." Dr. Miller joined Tom at the terminal, her face showing both horror and determination as she read. "It's worse than we thought. This isn't just about our children. They have thousands of young ones from dozens of species. They're keeping them in suspended animation for their experiments." The Collector commander still seemed more intrigued than worried. "You don't understand. This is important scientific work. These studies help us understand." "No," Jack interrupted, his voice cold. "You don't understand. We're not here to debate. We're not here to understand. We're here to take back our children and make sure you never steal another young one from any world ever again." He turned to his communication officer. "Send word to the fleet. We know where they're keeping the children. And send these coordinates to every world that's joined our alliance." The Collectors wanted to study advanced species. He looked at the now nervous alien commander. They're about to get a very close look at how humans fight when their children are threatened. News spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The supposedly untouchable Collectors had been defeated, their research station captured by the very beings they considered mere test subjects. The spark of rebellion that humanity had ignited was about to become an inferno. Commander Jack Stone stood on the bridge of Earth's fury, watching as reports flooded in from across known space. On the main screen, a map showed dozens of points of light, each representing a world rising up against their former tormentors. Another collector outpost has fallen, Dr. Miller reported, her eyes bright with excitement. The butterfly people of the Andromeda Arm used our shield-penetrating technology. They'd freed 300 children from different species. Tom looked up from his engineering station, grinning. You should see what the rock dwellers did with our plasma cutter designs. They turned their mining equipment into weapons. The collectors didn't expect their primitive mining colonies to fight back. The collector prisoners watched in disbelief as their empire crumbled. Their carefully maintained image of scientific superiority was shattered. Species they had studied and dismissed as interesting specimens were now destroying centuries of research. I don't understand, one collector scientist told Jack during questioning. We gave many of these species technological advances through our research. Why do they hate us? Because progress without permission is still theft, Jack replied. And stealing children is unforgivable, no matter your reasons. The High Council of the Collectors, hidden away on their homeworld, finally realized the gravity of their situation. Their automated defenses, designed to stop primitive weapons, were useless against technology that matched their own. Their policy of taking young ones from lesser species had united the galaxy against them. Messages arrived from dozens of worlds, each telling similar stories. The rock dwellers had freed their children from a laboratory deep in an asteroid belt. The cloud sailors of the gas giants had used their new weapons to destroy a collector prison ship. The tree singers had transformed their floating cities into battleships. But the most surprising help came from within the collector society itself. Young collectors, raised on their elders' stories of scientific necessity, saw the truth in the faces of the children their people had stolen. They began helping the rebellion, sharing secrets and security codes. Commander, a communication officer called out. Message from Earth. The United Nations wants to speak with you. The main screen showed the UN Security Council chamber. World leaders had gathered to discuss the latest developments. Their faces showed pride and determination. Commander Stone, the Secretary General, spoke. Your mission to rescue our children has become something larger. Species across the galaxy look to humanity as liberators. They're calling us the shield of the young ones. How do you suggest we proceed? Jack looked at the star map, at all the points of light representing worlds fighting for their children. We continue as we began, helping those who couldn't help themselves. The collectors spent centuries taking advantage of worlds they thought were weak. Now those worlds are strong, and they're working together. A new alert flashed on the tactical display. The collectors' homeworld defense fleet was mobilizing, preparing for what they thought would be their final stand against the rebellion. They still don't understand, Tom said, shaking his head. They think this is about territory or resources. They don't get that they united every parental instinct in the galaxy against them. Dr. Miller's console beeped with an urgent message. Commander, we found it. The main facility. Their central database confirms it. They're keeping the largest group of captured children there on their homeworld, including Billy and the others from Earth. Jack's jaw tightened. The collectors had built their society on the belief that advancement justified any action. Now they would learn that some actions had consequences no amount of scientific progress could excuse. Send word to our allies, he ordered. Tell them we found our children. All our children. It's time to show the collectors what happens when you mistake parenthood for weakness. The collectors' homeworld looked beautiful from space, its 3 moons casting multiple shadows across purple oceans and golden continents. But Commander Jack Stone saw only one thing, the massive research complex that held thousands of stolen children. Their defenses are like nothing we've seen before, Tom said, studying the sensor readings aboard Earth's Fury. Energy shields, automated weapon platforms, and a fleet of warships. They've been holding back their best technology. Dr. Miller pointed to a specific building on the display. That's where they're keeping the children. The energy readings matched the stasis technology we saw at their other facilities, but much larger. The combined fleet of Earth ships and alien allies hung back, hidden behind the system's asteroid belt. Representatives from 24 species had gathered on Earth's Fury to hear Jack's plan. A direct attack would cost too many lives. Jack explained to the assembled aliens. We need something they won't expect. Something that goes against everything they think they know about us. He turned to Tom. How small can you make our shield-penetrating technology? The engineer grinned. Small enough to fit in a pocket. Why? Because they're expecting a fleet attack. They're not expecting 3 people to walk in through the front door. The plan was audacious. While the fleet launched a massive attack on the other side of the planet, drawing away their forces, a small team would infiltrate the main facility. Jack would lead it himself, with Tom to handle the technology and Dr. Miller to deal with the stasis systems. They used a captured collector shuttle, modified with Tom's latest inventions. The collector's own arrogance worked against them. They'd never imagined anyone would dare to impersonate their scientists. Remember, Dr. Miller said as they approached the landing pad, we need to match their behavior. They're cold, analytical. They see everything as a scientific opportunity. The landing went smoothly. Jack led his team through the facility's stark white corridors, their stolen collector robes hiding their weapons and equipment. Every step brought them closer to the children, but also deeper into danger. They found the stasis chamber exactly where their intelligence said it would be. The sight stopped them in their tracks. Thousands of transparent pods lined the walls, each containing a sleeping child from a different world. The soft blue light of the stasis fields made it look peaceful, but Jack felt only rage. Billy, he whispered, spotting his son in a nearby pod. The boy looked exactly as he had on that playground, frozen in time. I need 10 minutes to hack their systems, Tom said, moving to a control panel. Their security is complex. You've got 5, Jack replied. They'll notice something's wrong soon. Dr. Miller worked quickly, checking the children's vital signs through her hidden scanner. They're all healthy. The stasis fields have preserved them perfectly, almost like they're just taking a nap. The alarm sounded halfway through Tom's work. Red lights flashed as security forces began converging on their position. Jack and Dr. Miller took up defensive positions while Tom raced to finish the hack. Almost there, Tom called out, "Just need 2. Got it. Stasis fields are shutting down. But we need 10 minutes for them to wake up safely." Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. The facility's guards were coming. Jack checked his weapon and looked at his team. Then we give them 10 minutes. No matter what. The first wave of guards rounded the corner, weapons ready, but they hesitated when they saw Jack standing there, his Earth military uniform now visible under the discarded collector robe. "You don't understand," one of the guards said. "These specimens are too valuable to lose. The research is too important." Jack's voice was cold steel. "No, you don't understand. Those aren't specimens in there. They're children, and we're their parents." Behind him, the stasis pods began to hum as they powered down. The children would wake soon, but first, this team of humans would show the collectors exactly what it meant to stand between a parent and their child. The battle in the stasis chamber lasted exactly 9 minutes and 27 seconds. Not a single collector guard made it past the doorway where Commander Jack Stone and his team made their stand. The guards had superior numbers, but they fought like scientists. Jack's team fought like parents. The moment the last stasis pod opened, Billy's eyes fluttered. "Dad?" the boy called out weakly. Around him, thousands of other children from dozens of worlds began to wake. "I'm here, son." Jack rushed to Billy's pod while Tom and Dr. Miller kept watch. "I promised I'd come for you." The facility's speakers crackled with an urgent announcement. Outside, the combined fleet had broken through the collector's defenses. Ships from every species they had wronged now filled the skies of their homeworld. The High Council of the Collectors had called for an emergency meeting. "Commander," Dr. Miller's voice was urgent. "The children are all awake, but we need to move them quickly. Their muscles will be weak from stasis." That's when they heard it. Singing. The tree singer children, their voices still strong despite their imprisonment, had begun a song of freedom. Children from Earth joined in with their own songs. Soon, the chamber filled with a chorus of voices from across the galaxy. Tom worked at his console, smiling as he listened. "I've tapped into their broadcast system. This song is playing through every speaker on the planet." The effect was immediate. Young collectors who had questioned their society's methods began openly rebelling. The High Council's guards laid down their weapons, moved by the sound of the children they had helped imprison. "Attention all forces," Jack's voice boomed through the facility. "This is Commander Stone. We have the children. All of them. Your choice is simple. Surrender and face justice, or face the combined might of every species you've wronged. You have 5 minutes to decide." It took 3. The High Council surrendered unconditionally. As parents from 24 worlds rushed to reclaim their children, the collectors faced the consequences of centuries of arrogance. Their civilization had built its foundation on the pain of others. Now that foundation crumbled. 1 week later, Jack stood in the newly formed Galactic Council chamber, built from the remnants of the collector's main research facility. Billy sat in the observation gallery with other rescued children, watching as representatives from every affected species gathered to decide the future. "The collector's technology will be shared among all species," the council announced. "Their research stations will become schools and hospitals. But most importantly, they will help heal the wounds they created." Young collector scientists, those who had helped the rebellion, stepped forward with a proposal. "We want to learn from other species the right way," their speaker said. "Not through theft and imprisonment, but through friendship and respect." Earth, despite being one of the younger spacefaring species, was given a leading role in the new galactic order. Not because of their technology or military might, but because they had shown the galaxy a better way, standing up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. Tom approached Jack after the ceremony, grinning. "You know what this means. With all this shared technology and cooperation, we might reach the stars we can't even see yet. And we'll reach them together," Dr. Miller added, watching as children from different species played in the council chamber's garden. "As equals, not specimens." Billy ran up to his father, now friends with young ones from 12 worlds. "Dad, can my new friends visit Earth? I want to show them real ice cream." Jack laughed, lifting his son onto his shoulders. The boy had spent months in stasis, but now he was eager to explore the galaxy, just like humanity itself. The collectors had sought to study the development of species through clinical observation. Instead, they had accidentally created something far more powerful, a united galaxy where different species learned from each other freely, bound together by the strongest force in existence, the love between parent and child. "You know what the best part is," Jack said to his team as they watched the children play. They wanted to study humanity's potential. Well, they finally got their answer. Above them, ships from 100 worlds sailed peacefully through the stars, proving that the greatest scientific advancement of all was learning to protect, not possess. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was a very good thing.